Hello, my name is KY. I began tanking in Trial of the Grand Crusader and Wrath of the Lich King, and I have also occasionally dabbled in healing. I have ranked top 2.5% for multiple tanks in the US for Mythic Plus. I have also achieved the rival title in PvP when it was the top 10% of the arena ladder. At the start of this poll, I'm going to be looking to gather all of these laborers on top of this overseer. I'm also going to be pulling one of the mole herds from beyond the hall back into this room. On the gather, I'm going to be using small CDs to make sure I'm living the start of the gather, and then as I run back through the hall after I get the mole herd, I'm going to be using IBF to be able to live the melees as as I'm running through the mobs. One thing that you want to do as a tank is set up the bull so that the mobs aren't being knocked in every different direction. One thing that you can do as a Death Knight is use Gorfiends on one of the AoEs to grip them back in immediately after they've been knocked out. If you do it fast enough, then all of the mobs should stay on top of the Overseer. You can also do this with abilities like Sigil of Chains and Ursula's Vortex from Demon Hunter and Druid. This next pull, similarly, I'm going to be pulling mobs onto the Overseer. Uh, the mole herds don't move a lot, so if the Overseer is going to be knocking mobs back, you do want to knock them into the closest wall or area uh, where you are, and then have the Overseer positioned so that uh, most of the mobs will follow, but the mole herd you want to be positioned so that it is knocked the shortest distance away. And then the other mobs, you simply have to run towards the closest wall and they will get knocked back uh, as they run towards you. I have changed my route since this run, and I do pull it a little bit differently, but the idea is you want to skip the last Overseer. Even in my new route, I still do that. Um, with the patrolling moles, you can either pull them before into the previous pull or into the first boss. What I do here is I social pull them. I let them aggro to me as I run by so that if I tag them, there's a chance that the Overseer uh, aggroes to the moles as they are being tagged. Uh, for the first boss, I start by range pulling it and then popping both damaging and a defensive CD. Uh, the first ability that the boss does is a tank hit, uh, so it's good to have something for that. The first boss is pretty simple. As a DPS, you just damage the boss until the minecart comes out, then kill the minecart. If the minecart does not die, it blows up for a lot of damage, and at least one person will probably die. Uh, in terms of positioning, as the tank, you want to be close to the middle of the room. That way, the DPS and healers, when they get the charge, can charge into a close pillar, and they will have room to move out of the way. Also, wherever the minecart spawns, you will be relatively close to it, so it's not a long distance to move whenever the minecart spawns. As a healer, you should be looking out for the fixates. Whenever the fixate happens, all of the uh, small mobs are going to run towards that person and start stacking a bleed on them with their auto attacks. Everyone should be helping to CC the ads, especially when the fixate happens, uh, with knockbacks and slows. If you are the one with the fixate on you, you should ideally be kiting, at least to some extent, so that the bleed doesn't stack up too high. The pull after the first boss, in my new route, I actually pull all of this trash, and when I'm skipping the mini boss. In this, I do skip the corner pack with the caster. Uh, Everything else, there is these little flames that will increase fire damage taken, which the quenching blast is fire damage. Need to look out for using defensives if you have a lot of stacks of the debuff. Otherwise, as a tank, there's not a lot dangerous unless you get hit by one of the circles, the the bonk circles, which will stun you. Uh, Other than that, there's not much dangerous uh, in this. You can pull all of it together, and it can be a lot of melee damage, but if you can live it, there's not a lot that's actually dangerous other than the melees. Into the second boss room, the trash here. Uh, these are the same flames that you just fought. Their cast will increase your fire damage taken. So you do want to stop them as much as you can with kicks. This is a place where a tank's AoE kick can be very powerful, both Sigil of Silence and from Demon Hunter and Disrupting Shout from Warrior are very strong. They will actually lock out the cast from all of the mobs. If you do happen to get a lot of stacks and the Quenching Blast comes out, then you can line of sight all of the casts, uh, both the cast from the flame that gives you the debuff and the Quenchy Blast. You can hide behind the candles to not get the debuff and not take the AoE damage from the Quenching Blast. The idea on this second boss is you want as many candles lit as much of the fight as you can. The first thing that the boss does is this dousing breath, which uh, blows out all of the candles and knocks you back. If you're within the model of the boss, uh, you do not get the knockback. Uh, but as he's doing the wick lighter barrage, you want to try to get as many of the candles lit as you can. Most people can get two. Uh, there are some classes that can get three or four, depending on uh, their CDs of their mobility. When he does the extinguishing gust, uh, you ideally want to try to extinguish just one candle. This is why I put the world markers down, is to try to get everyone to uh, stand in uh, generally the same line so that just one of these candles gets blown out. 'Cause then uh, each time the boss reignites a candle himself, he puts a dot on all of the players, and the more of these, the more stacks of the dot that the players have, the more damage they will take. Uh, and then more healing that the healer has to deal with. Uh, so be nice to your healer and try to light as many candles as you can and blow out as few candles as you can. Uh, After that, it's mostly just a rinse and repeat from there and try to keep as many candles lit as you can during the fight. In this first room after the second boss, there are a couple ways to deal with this. As both a Death Knight and a Demon Hunter, you can grip all of the ads together. If you're able to grip them into the fire circles, they do stun the ads, and I believe they do a little bit of damage as well. Uh, but it gives you a little bit of extra time in your CC to get free damage on them. Uh, if you do hit the candle before the RP happens, the candle will not die and it does not give any count. So it's just an HP soak that does nothing else. Like I said, it doesn't give count if you tag it. We come to the mini boss here. It has become a lot more popular to skip this mini boss since I first did this on a 12. But if you do happen to do the mini boss, uh, I recommend you kill the larger of the two first. He does unavoidable damage in his stomp, and the one-handed headlock will stun a player. It is possible to avoid the stun if you are far enough away from him. At the end of his cast, he picks the spot which you are at and charges to that spot. So if you use some kind of movement ability to move far enough away, then you will not get stunned. It does require a decent amount of distance away from the boss and decent enough reaction time to move away. The smaller of the mini bosses only does casts that can be kicked or the frontal cone. You can kick all of the casts, and for the frontal, you can simply move away, not be staying in front of him. So it's much easier to deal with the smaller one. For the Candle King boss, it is recommended to tank him close to the edge of the room and have the entire party be loosely stacked up. That allows for most healers to have some kind of healing rain or efflorescence, so everyone can be standing that. It also lets the DPS and healers more easily stack in raid effects, such as DK's AMZ or Death Knight's Darkness. In this, I actually probably don't move enough. As a tank, you should probably be moving a little bit faster than I am here, uh, so that your wax statues are a little bit further away from the wax puddles that form. In dealing with the kicks on this fight, uh, Death Knights have a talent that allows them to have a 12-second kick, which can get every single kick, assuming they are the one that kick the ability. If they use their kick and are not the one who actually got the kick, then it will be a 15-second CD. Shamans also have a 12-second kick and are able to get every single cast of the Paranoid Mind. And then warriors have two talents that they can take, which will lower the CD of their kick to 12 seconds. It is, I believe, less popular for warriors to take those talents. It is, I believe, a damage loss overall for the key for warriors to take that talent. Here we come to the Gauntlet or Minecart event. Uh, in this, I am not able to effectively do the minecart event uh, because the DPS here like to just hit stuff as soon as they see it. Uh, Typically, you would, at least I would use the light to pull up to the first creeper, and then the minecart would usually stop around the first junction. Uh, if the minecart is above 90%, then it will not stop. So keep that in mind when you're moving mobs around and with the minecart moving. And then typically after that first pull, then I would pull, go run ahead with the light and pull everything else to the minecart. And just do this area in 2 pulls. Now, the shuffling horrors, whenever they are first aggroed to any player, then they will uh, immediately run to the cart and try to cast Drain Light. If the DPS or healer then kicks them without damaging them, they will go back to their aggro target, which hopefully is the tank, and then the minecart can keep moving. In the RP minecart event at the end here, uh, you only need to throw the dynamite until the boss gets below 90% health. After that, it's uh, just a personal RP event. If you want to try to do more, you can do more, but it does not actually affect anything in the dungeon. The boss cannot go below 90% health. Uh, However, if you do not get the boss to 90% health, then the boss at the last boss, the end, will have more than 90% health. The final trash here is these corridor creepers and the small mobs. Uh, you can, as a tank, you can pull as much as you want as long as you can live the dot. Each of their melees will apply a dot to you, and the more of them you pull, the faster the dot stacks. If the healer is dispelling you on CD, most tanks can deal with a couple of these mobs on them at a time. Um, Warrior's Spell Reflect can mitigate one of them. Death Knight's AMS will make it so that the dot is not applied for the duration. And the last boss, it's pretty straightforward boss. If you have some kind of mechanic on you, like the Shadow Blast, you go and pick up a candle, and then after the damage happens, you run back in, and then uh, return the candle to the candle that everyone is standing in. As the tank, usually the tank or the healer will be the one moving the candle that you start out with. So there are a couple of predictable patterns that you can use. The one I use in this is just a square pattern or diamond, depending on how you're looking at it. Uh, I do in front of the boss, to the left of the boss, behind the boss, and to the right of the boss. What I've started doing since then is just to the right of the tracks and to the left of the tracks. In either case, you do want to move the candle up towards the boss so that it's a little bit closer to where the uh, kobolds are bringing your uh, candles to refresh your larger candle. For the rest of the mechanics, the Umbral Slash is when you want to be moving the candle. The Call Darkness, you just want to be kicking. Uh, for the ads that are coming in, uh, I tend to want to pull them in on top of the boss. I have seen a number of people try to knock them away from the candle. If you can get them closer, it is easier for people to cleave them down and do damage to them. You can just CC them while they're under the boss. There's no other use for CCs on this boss other than on the ads. Only one person needs to be kicking the boss itself. The Eternal Darkness is just AoE damage. On this, you want to be using your heal CDs and your raid CDs to be living this, and you do want to be using it during the damage.